welcome into Cupcake's Ultimate Fire Kung Fu Master Guide. In this video I will be talking about item changes coming in the future, as well as what you need to know now and what you need to use, what are the combinations to optimize your damage as Fire Kung Fu Master based on your gear, since there really isn't a correct answer up to really high gear. So especially for new players, I recommend watching this and picking a path for yourself up to a certain point. Now I'll immediately go to the first starting point, which is Mystic Badge. The only option for Fire Kung Fu Master with Mystic Badge is the Revelation Mystic Badge, and what it does is Tiger Strike recovers 3 focus over 4 seconds on successful smite. This is a little inaccurate, like it's a very weird translation, but what it means is that every time you use Tiger Strike you gain 3 focus, which means that the cost is completely nullified. In other words, if you cast your 2, cast your Searing Blow, Smite, your 2 does not cost chi for 4 seconds. Okay? This is what it does. That's all that matters. Infinite 2 spam. Now, your Soul Badge options. If you have Revelation Soul Badge, the options you have is either Ancestral Soul Badge or Magnum Soul Badge. Now, what Magnum Soul Badge does is it applies Searing Palm when you RMB your enemy, Guiding Fist. And it also resets Leading Palm as well when you use Guiding Fist. So as you can see, you can just keep on stacking this one stack, you can keep on refreshing it, and from here on, you can stack up to 4 stacks immediately after. And what this badge does is it means that you have no cooldown on your Searing Palm whatsoever. As you can see, I just restarted it, back to 4 stacks. That's it. That's how you use this badge. You utilize it to just completely reset your Searing Palm cooldown. Now, what does Ancestral do? Ancestral is a combination of Alluvion and Sagewood, I believe, and what it does is it enables Searing Palm stage 4 when using Tremor, not Avalanche. Resets cooldown of Searing Palm when using Tremor. Resets Tremor's cooldown when Fighting Spirit is used. Why do they have incorrect translations on this badge? Like the first 2 lines and the third one is correct. Oh well, NCSoft. Basically what it does is when you use your Tremor, it immediately allows you to use Searing Palm stage 4 on your enemy. Just like that. Now the Sagewood part is when you blue buff, it resets the cooldown of Tremor. Like that. That's it. These are your 2 options if you have Revelation Mystic Badge. Honestly, I cannot tell which one is better, but it depends on how you really play the class and your ping and everything you do and your setup in general. Now we'll get into the Dynasty Mystic Badge and what it does for Fire Kung Fu Master. The Dynasty Mystic Badge, when you have it equipped, obviously, every time you use your Tremor, it's going to leave a giant red flame field on the floor, and it's going to do massive damage to the boss, as well as add a 2 AP modifier to your Tiger Strike. A 2 AP modifier is roughly about, I don't know, a good, let's say 20% ability damage, so it's quite a bit. Really, it's quite a bit, considering that it stacks together with the 20% Tiger Strike damage on your Tremor. So especially with Ancestral, what it does is, due to the reset on the Tremor after you use Fighting Spirit, you will basically leave 2 of these flaming fields that do massive damage, and you will get quite a bit of DPS in return. Now, Magnum is not an option with the Dynasty Mystic Badge, simply to the reason, as I mentioned, no reset on your Tremor, and it's much greater. And if you do have the Dynasty Mystic Badge but cannot afford the Ancestral Soul Badge, you will have to roll with Alluvion Soul Badge, which just resets the cooldown of your Tremor after Fighting Spirit. With that, sadly, you will not have the Searing Palm proccing on the enemy every time. Now, into bracelets and how you should play them. There's 2 bracelets for Kung Fu Master right now. In the future we will get another bracelet specifically for Fire Kung Fu Master, but let's just keep that for later. There's also Subjugator bracelet, which is completely irrelevant right now. However, as I mentioned, in the future we might get another content update in which the Subjugator bracelet will proc on our Tremor and boost our Comet Strike. Currently it boosts Iron Butterfly and procs on our Z, which is a complete joke. So we will get into the effects of both bracelets. Kung Fu Master bracelets, as you're aware, they are active all the time since they're on Unleashed effect, and Unleashed effect is Searing Palm, and Searing Palm is up all the time for Kung Fu Master. There's no downtime. If there is, then you're doing something wrong. Now the 2 options is 500% AP bonus, which is 5 AP modifier on your Comet Strike, or 1.6 AP modifier on your Tiger Strike, which seems really unfair looking at the win stats, but oh well, life's life. So, how do you roll this? If you are Magnum, you will always roll Tiger, especially when you're tanking. Now, the 3 soul shields for Fire Kung Fu Master are MSP, BT, and VT, obviously, and I'm going to show all 3 effects. So, the first one, MSP, gives you, this is the soul shield you're going to start out with, obviously, since you will just have finished story quest. It base increases your Comet Strike damage by 50%, your Smite damage increases by 50%, and Smite decreases cooldown by 50%. Now, it might not seem like very bad choice because, well, due to Revelation Mystic Badge, but the thing with MSP is that it forces you to use Searing Blow every time you want to use Smite, which is kind of not good, which means that you never really go to burn out your chi to use that Searing Blow, which means it forces you to use that Searing Blow every 6 seconds just to use your Smite for damage, which does not feel that great, to be honest, considering how it goes. Now, as soon as you have the chance to, you should go Dauntless Soul Shield, which is from BT 3 set and MSP 5 set. As you can see, it gives you Tiger Strike damage and Searing Blow damage. What the Dauntless Soul Shield gives you, it gives you an extra 25% damage on your Comet Strike and an extra 20% damage on your Tiger Strike. So Comet Strike and Tiger Strike boost. What you really give up is the damage on your Smite. So to cut it short, BT 5 set and MSP 3 set is the best setup for Fire Kung Fu Master up to VT 3 set. Now, why is that? It's really simple, because the damage of the Comet Strike from the BT Soul Shield is just superb. Honestly, there's nothing to say about it. I rock this setup even to this day, especially because you do not want to go past this point without getting the Dynasty badge. So, how much damage does the Comet Strike actually do? So with Dauntless 3 set, without using any bracelet or add-ons, it does roughly 162,000. With blue buff, 190,000. 150,000 with my soul down. As you can see, it varies, but does pretty decent damage. Now, with the bracelet, allow me to tell you, with the bracelet, it does roughly 220 up to 260 damage. 260,000. And with Tremor on the floor, which gives you another 20% critical damage, but just basically around 250,000 during Soul Burn. This is with Raven 9 and Hexagonal Flame Obsidian and some pretty decent accessories. Now, why would you run Tiger Bracelet? Every freaking Kung Fu Master is gonna say, why are you wearing Tiger? You need to wear Divine Dragon. Truth is, if it's a short fight, Tiger is much better. It's better for burst because you do not have the Dynasty badge and your Comet Strikes are your main source of damage. Considering you blue buff so frequently, really, it just feels good. It's really damn good. Also, this bracelet is used for Toy, Battlegrounds, any kind of activity that might include you, like common striking people in the back. You know, you just gotta love common striking people in the back. Feels like sin. Yeah. So, as soon as you're able to, go BT5 set, MSP3 set. Now, from there on, what you want to do for personal damage, you want to go VT3 set as soon as you can. VT3 set, BT5 set. That's a really good setup, right? What VT3 set will give you is 20% cooldown on Tremor, 30% cooldown on your Fighting Spirit, on your blue buff, which means more Comet Strikes, and 15% damage on your Tiger Strike, etc. So it's basically the same damage as you get from MSP3 set. As you can see, it's the same damage you get off of MSP3 set with VT. You just get extra that cooldown on your Tremor and on Fighting Spirit, which means that with 3 set, your blue buff is going to be 1 minute, and that's going to be great, especially if you are in Tiger Bracelet in longer fights. This will mean that you get to blue buff at least twice. That means double the Comet Strikes. Oh yes, you love it. I know. Now, where would you use Divine Dragon Bracelet? As I mentioned earlier, Divine Dragon Bracelet is not bad at all. Actually, well, considerably, in many cases it can be better. As you can see, you can hit up to 100,000. With Tremor down, you can hit for 100,000 easy. With this, specifically with this bracelet. But the 1.5 AP modifier is not that huge, considering burst fights. It's really not that good. So you will mostly be using Tiger Bracelet until you really get there to the sweet spot where you get to choose. Tiger Bracelet goes much better with VT8 set, as it increases your Tiger Strike damage from BT3 and VT5 by 10% Tiger Strike damage. So your Tiger Strike is going to be much stronger than your Comet Strike. Now, the BT3 set is much better for tanking, by the way. You do not go VT8 set until you have Dynasty Badge. You have Dynasty Badge, you go VT8 set. That's how it goes. You have Dynasty Badge, there's really just one path for you. Ancestral or Alluvian Soul Badge, Dynasty Mystic Badge, Divine Dragon Bracelet, or further, which we get in the future, or and VT8 set. If you do not have the Dynasty Mystic Badge, what you go is Magnum, Tiger, or Dragon, as you prefer, BT3 set, VT5 set. This is the best setup. You choose Bracelet according how you prefer to play. With Soulburn and Party, you will want to have Divine Dragon Bracelet. Without Soulburn Party, you will want Tiger. If there's Gunner, you go Tiger. If there's both Gunner and Soulburn, then it's Tiger, unless the Soulburn is with their own badge, then you go Dragon. The reason being is because the 5 AP modifier on the Soulburn with badge is much better on your 2, simply because the attack is much faster than Comet Strike, obviously, even in blue buff. Now, that's really all there is to it. Run away from MSP as far and as quickly as you can. It's not good for you. Get BT3 set as soon as you can. Get VT3 set as soon as you can. Past that, get BT5 set, and then just focus on getting that Dynasty Mystic Badge. Really, that's all there is to it. In the future, Subjugator Bracelet is going to be good. Tiger Bracelet is going to be extremely bad. Once you get past this point, once you really get the Dynasty Badge, I've been really unlucky with it, by the way. That's why I don't have it. I couldn't loot it for weeks and weeks and weeks straight. So the bracelet that's good, honestly, my preference, I always go with Tiger. I pick Ancestral Mystic Badge and Tiger Bracelet. The reason being is, although it may seem a little silly considering that you already get the 4 stacks, but it's really nice for tanking. The threat you can push out with this specific bracelet and this setup is immense. You can tank a 1 million burst gunner, I can assure you. With this gear, you can tank a 1 million burst gunner. You're not gonna do near that. You're gonna do 250,000 bursts at most. Okay, if it's Soulburn with badge, 300k. but you will be able to tank everything due to the threat produced by your Comet Strike, which as you know, is 300% of the original damage. It's a lot of damage, a lot. It's amazing. So just feel free to customize, you know, don't be one of these stuck people that just go one path, which is Divine Dragon, you know, gotta go, like some of them even are a little bit silly, a little screwed over. They go BT 8 set, never do that, ever. The Fighting Spirit cooldown is nice, well, maybe if you go Tiger Bracelet, maybe you can make it work somehow, but you're still gonna lose a lot of DPS. It's not worth it. Never go BT 8 set. Okay, forget what I just said. Never go BT 8 set. It's not worth it. The cooldown is not good enough. Just get BT 3 set. That'll fix all your problems, and then you can do whatever you want. But up to that point, just don't do it. Now, why I said tanking is really good with Tiger Bracelet is because you can really just engage like this. You know, that right there, what I just did is about 1.7 million damage in threat. That right there. Obviously, the thing is that the reason I blocked there is obviously for the another threat amplification. It's nowhere near that. Yeah, it actually is. It actually is. Forget about that. That's 750,000 in threat from your Comet Strikes, from 2 of them. So about 1.5 million just from 2 Comet Strikes. Like, just like that. Poof, poof. That's it. Done. That's why Magnum is good, because you don't need to apply anything. You can instantly Comet Strike your target, which immediately puts you at a really high threshold for burst, okay? You can do the same with Ancestral, but the thing is, you're wasting the badge, because you only get 2 shots with the badge, right? You only get 2 shots. So, it's like, that's it, right? And then you have to somehow follow it up, because you already screwed up one of your shots. Gear. Speaking of gear optimization, right? This is the one thing that is very screwy. Fire Kung Fu Master gets really few resets. Compared to every other class, I don't understand, but in some fights, you don't get any stacks whatsoever. Maybe it's because of ping, maybe it's because our attacks are slow, but it's really like, you get very few resets in comparison to every other class. Like even here you can see, well I guess you can, but as you can see, it's really hard stacking this up with Fire Kung Fu Master. It's hard to show, but if you get into a dungeon, there are fights where you just lose it on, let's say, 4 stacks or whatever. Yeah, I'm getting really lucky with this. Usually I complain a lot more than this, but yeah. Basically, Ancestral is really good with a lot of resets as well. It's much better than Magnum. Magnum has no difference if you get resets or not. Ancestral is a giant buff. Every reset is just major. Now, optimization wise, as I mentioned, you will be getting really few resets, and back in the day I had an Ascendant 6 weapon that I used for PvP, and I can tell you, DPS wise, Ascendant weapon is equal to Raven. Okay, Ascendant 6 is going to be just a few thousand DPS behind a Raven weapon, specifically in a fight of, like, let's say 2 minutes, specifically in these kind of length fights. It is going to be just a little bit behind. So if you are a PvP player, do not be afraid to PvP with your Ascendant. And honestly, if you see a Fire KFM joining your lobby with a Dragon Forge Gauntlet, it's better than, let's say, a Raven 3 or whatever for them, if they don't want to get it. Actually, with Dragon Forge Gauntlet, you can burst a lot more if you're wearing the Tiger Bracelet. I myself, with Raven, can burst up to 250 something thousand at best. With Dragon Forge, I can climb to 300,000 and higher, as long as, you know, I get to attack the target properly. It's due to the Vindication effect as soon as you attack your target, which gives you a little bit of AP, right? So as soon as you attack, you get a 175 AP bonus, which is roughly higher than what you'd get with with Raven stacks. See, like, where are my Raven stacks? Give me one. Wait, what is happening? Why is my Raven not proccing? Is it because I had Ascendant weapon? Interesting. I've never seen this happen before. Speaking of Raven weapon, it puts emphasis on your Tiger Strike with elemental damage. It's a 2 AP modifier at max stage. That's why up to Raven 9 Tiger Bracelet VT3 set is much better, because you don't have that big modifier. But yeah, roughly a Raven stack. Give me a Raven stack, please, so I can show. That's what I'm talking about. You don't get many resets as Fire KFM. Well, I mean, this is unhumorous. I'm not sure which weapon I'm wearing. Oh my god. This really happens a lot. See, that's the first stack. There we go. So yeah, as you can see, it gives you 20 AP per stack. And basically the Dragon Forge weapon effect is a little bit better than this at let's say, like, the AP is a little bit better than this at 5 stacks. The AP itself, obviously the additional damage is just godlike, but the AP itself, right? So when you start at a fight, if you have a really good luck, just like I did just now, stacking that 1 stack up for half an hour, then Dragon Forge 3 is going to be better for you DPS wise if you want to burst with Tiger Bracelet, or just in general if you want to burst, if the fight will last less than 20 seconds. So that's that. Honestly, I believe that's all there is to Kung Fu Master customization. There's only one path if you have Dynasty Badge, and there's many paths if you're going up to that point. And honestly, if you're doing PvP, well, I mean, Battlegrounds, use Tiger Bracelet, since you don't need to make 2 bracelets separately. I made this bracelet way before the Subjugator bracelet changes were announced, and I'm just going to salvage it for a Crux and then use it to update my Subjugator bracelet. Like, hopefully by that time I'll have my Dynasty Badge dropped. But yes, stay cool, well, should I say stay flamey, Fire Kung Fu Masters, and see you in my next video.